What's up, guys? Swift here covering everything Chicago Bears. I wanted to talk a bit about our rookie class today before I finish up the All 22 breakdown. There are just a few things that really stand out about this draft class in particular when you step back and look at them as a whole. The first thing that sticks out on paper is the overall athleticism Poles was able to acquire in this draft. I talk about RAS scores a lot on this channel because to me it's been clear that Poles doesn't just want football players, he wants football players with tons of athleticism. On top of that, he wants physical, violent players. This draft class has a tone-setting vibe to them. Darnell Wright punishes people. Gervon Dexter and Zach Pickens play angry. Both Tyrique Stevenson and Terrell Smith can come up and lay the boom from the secondary. This class overall is just very physical to go with their athletic traits. Speaking of athleticism, if you haven't seen this yet, everyone Poles has drafted had an RAS score over 8.0. Every single one of the 10 picks. In contrast, the Vikings didn't have a single player with an RAS score of 8 or higher. It'll be very interesting to track these draft classes by Ryan Poles and the Vikings GM over the next couple of years. Just take a look at the draft class as a whole. I've never seen this much athleticism in one class. It is worth noting though, there was one other team with a draft class possibly even more athletic, the Indianapolis Colts, who landed Anthony Richardson, Adetomiwa Adebawore, and Darius Rush just for starters. To be honest, from top to bottom, the Bears landed one of the most talented draft classes I've seen in my life as a Bears fan. One of my favorites before this was in 2003 when we landed Charles Tillman, Lance Briggs, Rex Grossman, and some role players. The 2000 draft was awesome as well because we got Brian Urlacher and Mike Brown. I also loved the 2004 draft in which we got Tommy Harris, Tank Johnson, Bernard Berrien, and Nathan Vasher. And then personally, the 2021 draft is also a favorite of mine because we landed two of my favorite Bears of this century, Justin Fields and Tevin Jenkins. But this draft class from top to bottom just has a ton of talent, off the charts athleticism, plenty of personality, and they play a physical, violent style of football. Ryan Poles described these guys all as Grizzlies. Interesting word choice, but Ryan Poles is looking to add Grizzly Bears. My favorite thing about Ryan Poles is how he views the NFL draft. It's kind of like how I view the draft. It's about finding values and not reaching for players who aren't near the top of your board. By the time the Bears were on the clock in round 2, there had been a record number of edge rushers taken. Had the draft fallen differently, Poles very well might have taken someone like Keon White or Derek Hall in the second round. Instead, he found values at other positions of need. He attacked the defensive tackle and cornerback positions. He upgraded our running back room, linebacker room, and filled our biggest need at right tackle with a monster of a prospect. Day one, he played it safe, but he added a guy that will aid in Justin Fields' development and solidify this offensive line. Darnell Wright was to me one of the safest picks in this entire draft. He's a plug-and-play day one starter with all-pro upside. He's a perfect fit in Chicago. Day 2 was about traits, upside, and fit. All three of our day 2 picks were athletic freaks who project as long-term starters on our defense. Those guys were Gervon Dexter, Tyrique Stevenson, and Zach Pickens. All three fit everything that Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles is looking for. They play physical, they have off-the-charts size and athleticism, and even more importantly, they want to be Chicago Bears. And then on day 3, Ryan Poles put on his value hat, showing he can identify best player available while still checking all 3 boxes. Roschon Johnson was a steal. Tyler Scott, a steal. Noah Sewell was a projected top 20 pick last year before returning for his senior season. We got him in the 5th round. That's a steal. Terrell Smith, some people think he could be better than Tyrique Stevenson or even a long-term starter at free safety. At the end of round 5, another steal. Regardless of how you feel about the values of Poles' first 4 picks, you have to recognize his eye for talent on day 3 of the draft. Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham put together a class that will help build the foundation of this roster and has found quite a few potential long-term building blocks. Now, the 2 7th-round picks are special teams upside guys. I actually like what Poles did with those picks. He rewarded players who most likely would have been undrafted free agents, and he's hoping they buy in long term. It's low risk with a chance for some reward. Both Travis Bell and Kendall Williamson have intriguing size and speed combinations with a ton of athleticism. So far, I think our first 5 picks all look like long-term building blocks. Darnell Wright, Javon Dexter, Tyreek Stevenson, Zach Pickens, and Roschon Johnson. After that, I think Tyler Scott, Noah Sewell, and Terrell Smith all have potential to be really good starters in the NFL in time. I have my all-22 coming for Tyler Scott and Noah Sewell. Be looking out for those over the next couple weeks. I couldn't be happier with the first 8 picks. I think the 2 7th-rounders have some upside, but at this point they would be long shots to make any kind of major impact this season. I will be covering all of these rookies throughout their careers in Chicago. This is just the beginning. For more Chicago Bears information and daily coverage all season long, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on new videos. Please remember to hit that like button for me, and until next time, bear down!
Am I talking into these or no? How does this usually work?
Yeah, we icy. We going for that ring. We about to go golf. Let's go to the swing. So, yeah.